part part 3. And so today we're going to learn on how to use an event to launch uh, to launch to launch a program. And so welcome. And so before we go into the process, or before we start our today's activity, I want us to talk more about the .NET framework. And so we're going to start creating a new project. And what we can notice here is that we have a lot of choices to make here. You can see the Windows Forms app. There is one here and here. As we can see the Windows Forms app, which we actually were using in the last programs. And moving down the line, there is also this Windows app .NET framework. Not this one, but yeah, there is the Windows Forms app .NET framework. So what comes into your mind is, what is the difference between these two situations? What is the difference actually? And so to understand the difference, we have to talk on what the Windows Forms app .NET framework actually means and what is inside it. It's actually defined as the developer framework, but what is the fact, or what is the fact about it? It is called a framework because it provides a basic structure for your application. Imagine a site that perhaps making of vehicles. What you will notice at first is that every at the first moment, making different kind of vehicles, it starts with the same foundation, or actually the same strategies, but at the end of the day, the results is going to be different. What you'll notice is that it will all start with the same structure, but you'll at the end of the day realize that there were different things at there were different kinds of vehicles at the end of the day, and that's what we call framework. Framework is the foundation. So actually the .NET is the collection of languages and collection of codes that already written in them. For example, you don't need to actually start a Windows form from scratch. The framework already contains the forms, uh, the f- so to just make everything easier is that, or the difference is that the .NET framework comes with the code libraries, and which the .NET framework comes with it, and which is a feature that the Windows app, Forms app, doesn't have it. It doesn't contain it. Yeah, it doesn't contain these facilities. Yeah, that's now the difference between it together with this, with the Windows Forms app. So this one is lightweight. It actually contains layers of it, layers code. Yeah, you can actually use this, but it really contains less features. And as a as a beginner, I will advise us to use the Windows app .NET framework because it actually comes with different features that are going to help us. And let's name our project. Yeah, you can just name your project, or yeah. And as you can see here, I already have a form. This is now the framework for my new application. And so we're going to now let's pop some buttons into the form. Perhaps two. And let's now resize our buttons and locate it a little bit larger. And for you, you can just rename, you can add some properties to these buttons and also the form itself. You can change the color, you can change the font, you can change the text and the name and all whatever you really want to do. You can do that here on the properties window. So let's just use this one. For now, let's do it this way. And so we want to write the code on button one. So let's double click here. And it takes us to the coding side where we have to write our code. And what you can notice something here that in Windows Forms .NET Framework, we can see that there is here references. There is references which actually didn't was not found in the Windows app form. Yeah, that's why actually we say that this .NET framework has a lot of features that actually many of them doesn't need to concern us, and we don't have to worry much about it. We just have to leave it for some time as beginners, but as we progress and learn more, then we are going to learn and get to know more about what it actually means or what it helps us. So we have to just leave that for now because maybe it helps somewhere, or it might be like when we destroy it, it might affect us for now. So as beginners, let's just get on. And here in the Solution Explorer, you can see the references. Let's see this. Each of these is the DLL. You can see these are the references. This gives us the programming facilities that we are going to use, but for now, let's close this. So let's go directly to event handling and events. We're going to write a simple so we're going to write a simple code that will run when we click the button. So this is a program that will actually run in, let's see, let's take a look at it. Let's run this code. And as you click the button one, you can see that when we click the button one, you can see that our message is being displayed. But clicking button two, then let's close this and click button two. There is no message because we actually just wrote a message. It was on button one. So yeah. This is called event handling because it handles the clicking of button one. Now let's analyze this line here. Let's try to analyze this line. So as we said, the word sub means sub procedure, and there are many things that we are not actually, it's not that necessary for us and we can just delete them. The word sub might be necessary, but private, this private cannot be necessary. You can actually just delete it. Also, this here can be not that much necessary because it doesn't define anything at all, but it just helps you as the reader. So the word private just actually controls the visibility of the program. And yeah, parameters, this one here inside the brackets are parameters, and they are not that very they are not actually that very important for us. You can just delete it, but in the program will still work the same. So you can just delete this if needed. If you really want to do that, you can delete all these here, and the code will still run the same. And the thing that is actually needed for the code to run is this one here. You cannot delete this, you will have distorted everything and the program will not work at all. These here, the handles were the handles button click, because it links the button itself and this procedure here and the sub procedure. So if you delete this, then nothing will work. Yeah, this one will distort your running. And let's take a look at this. If you delete this one, actually the code will not work, will not run. And something interesting is that you can structure these to handle more than one event, and so that you may just use this. You may structure it to handle more than one event by adding another event. For instance, so the event handler is now going to handle the events of the two buttons. And let's see this. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, for instance, let me click on it. Yeah, the message is displayed. And what if I click this one? Yeah, the message is also displayed. And that's what we call event handling. You can launch you might look it as if not that useful for now, but as we advance, you are going to learn that it's very useful. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've looked at. But for now, we're going to just handle the event of button one. You want to use it in button one. So let's delete that. And another thing that you have to learn is that the button might handle different events, one of them being click, and there are many other events that it can actually handle it. And so let's take a look at it. Here are the events. You can click, it can handle the click event, it can also handle the all these double click. So for example, you can use the mouse down, you can use the mouse enter. These are events that uh, the button can actually handle. And let's take a look at mouse move event. Let's look at this. For example, let's just use this. It works the same with all. So you can notice that I'm not clicking, but I'm just moving the mouse. When the mouse touches the button, then when the mouse touches the button, the message is being displayed without me clicking, because we changed the event to mouse move instead of clicking. So let's take a look of at another event that so this let's take a look at another event. Uh, for instance, the key press event, and take a look at it, how it works. This thing is disturbing. I could have muted. Okay, so let's take a look at key press. So whenever I press any key in my keyboard, the message is displayed. Unlike moving the cursor will not do anything at all. But when I click any button, any key in my keyboard, then the message is displayed. Eventually, that's it. So you can just change the events from this place, but notice that there are those that are not going to work at all. So and let's delete this and try using the when we can use the properties. Let's use the properties windows. When you click at this, you're going to see many properties, many events. So here you can use the different events. You can use the mouse click. You can use all these events again. It works the same. When I double click and click, you see it returns me the procedure that I just deleted. And that's how it works. Now let's look at the events of the form itself. We were looking at the events of the buttons, but let's take a look at the events of the form itself. So we're going to the design, form design, and let's ensure that you're selecting the form. And so you can see the events here. These are the form events because we selected the form. So the events being shown here is the form events. So in the form events, we can see there is paint, there is also load event, there is these all events here. Uh, and so let's try the load event. Double click it, and it brings us a code actually. And you can notice that it handles my base load. It handles the load event. So let's try a message. And let's try using this. You can see that before the form is being displayed, it actually loads. It's loading. It actually first of all loads and the message is displayed. So the form is being loaded into memory first of all, and then it will be displayed. Yes, and now you can see that how it works. And you can also use the paint events and all that events. So there is the form clause, there is all these events. So you can just play around with these events. You can do the form clause, the form. All these events are actually just there for you to play with them and do something about it.